Maya had been searching for a place to live for almost 4 months now. Every apartment in the college town of Riverside was way too expensive for a student like her. She was studying history at the local university and barely making ends meet with her part-time job at the campus library. Every morning she would check online listings, scan newspaper ads, and even walk around neighborhoods looking for for rent signs. Nothing was affordable. Studio apartments started at $800, and shared rooms weren't much cheaper. She was getting desperate and considering dropping out of school just to afford a decent place to live. One rainy Thursday evening in October, Maya was sitting in her cramped dorm room, feeling defeated. Her roommate had moved out the month before, and the housing office was pressuring her to either find a new roommate or move to a more expensive single room. She picked up an old newspaper someone had left in the common area and flipped through the classified section one more time. Thus, when she saw it, a tiny ad buried between a used car listing and someone selling furniture. It was so small she almost missed it completely. The ad simply read, "Unique house for rent, $200 per month, serious renters only. Call after dark -555-0847. Maya stared at the ad for a full minute. $200. That couldn't be right. Even the worst apartments in the bad part of town cost at least $600. She figured it was probably a mistake, or maybe some kind of scam. But what did she have to lose by calling? She waited until 9 o'clock that evening and dialed the number. The phone rang 3 times before someone picked up. "Hello," said a man's voice. There was something unusual about the way he spoke, like he was choosing each word very carefully. "Hi, I'm calling about the rental ad in the paper, the house for $200. "Ah, yes," the man said. "You found my listing. My name is Vincent. Tell me, what is your current living situation?" Maya explained that she was a student looking for affordable housing. Vincent asked several odd questions: what she studied, whether she lived alone, if she had any pets, and strangely, whether she remembered her dreams clearly. "The house is quite special," Vincent told her. "It has been difficult to find the right tenant. Many people are not suited for it. The architecture is very unusual, and some find it unsettling." "Unsettling how?" Maya asked. "It's hard to explain over the phone. Would you be interested in seeing it tomorrow evening? I only show the property after sunset." Maya thought this was weird, but she was desperate. "Sure, I can meet you tomorrow night." Vincent gave her an address on Elm Creek Road, way out on the edge of town where the houses were spread far apart. He told her to meet him there at 8 o'clock sharp, and warned her to come with an open mind. The next evening, Maya borrowed her friend Katie's car and drove out to the address. The road was dark and winding, with tall trees on both sides. She almost missed the driveway. There was no mailbox or house number, just a narrow dirt path leading into the woods. As she drove down the path, her headlights illuminated something that made her hit the brakes. Through the trees ahead, she could see a house that looked like nothing she had ever seen before. It wasn't made of wood or brick like normal houses. Instead, it seemed to be constructed from some kind of smooth, white material that caught the moonlight and seemed to glow softly. Maya parked her car and got out slowly. The house was beautiful but completely bizarre. Instead of straight walls and sharp corners, everything curved and flowed like it had been shaped by water or wind. It looked more like a giant seashell or some kind of sculpture than a place where people lived. A tall man emerged from the shadows near the house. He was probably in his 50s, with very pale skin and light gray eyes. He moved in a strangely smooth way, almost like he was gliding rather than walking. "You must be Maya," he said, extending his hand. "I'm Vincent. Thank you for coming." His handshake was firm but cold, and Maya noticed his skin felt unusually smooth, almost like plastic. "This house is incredible," Maya said, staring up at the curved walls. "What's it made of?" "A very special material," Vincent replied. "The previous owner was an artist and architect. He designed it to be completely unique. Shall we go inside?" Vincent led her to what she assumed was the front door, though it was hard to tell. There was no door frame or handle, just an oval opening in the wall that seemed to dilate as they approached, like the pupil of an eye. Inside, Maya gasped. The interior was even more amazing than the outside. The walls curved and flowed seamlessly into the ceiling and floor. There were no sharp angles anywhere, and everything had the same smooth, pearlescent finish. Soft light seemed to come from the walls themselves, creating a warm, comfortable glow throughout the space. "The living room," Vincent said, gesturing to an area where furniture seemed to grow directly from the floor. The couch and chairs looked comfortable but were clearly part of the house's structure rather than separate pieces. Maya ran her hand along one of the walls. It felt warm to the touch, not cold like she expected. This is amazing. I've never seen anything like it. Vincent showed her the bedroom, which had a bed that appeared to be carved from the same material as everything else. The bathroom was equally strange and wonderful, with a shower that looked like the inside of a flower and a bathtub shaped like a natural pool. The kitchen, Vincent said, leading her to an area where countertops and cabinets flowed together in organic shapes. Everything looked functional but completely alien. How much did you say the rent was? Maya asked, still in shock. $200 per month, plus utilities. Of course, Maya couldn't believe it. This place was like something from a science fiction movie, and it was cheaper than a parking space in most parts of town. There must be a catch, she said. Why is it so cheap? Vincent's expression became serious. As I mentioned, the house is very unique. Some people find it too unusual. The previous tenant left after only 2 weeks. She said it made her feel uncomfortable. Uncomfortable how? She claimed the house felt alive, that it was watching her. Of course, this was nonsense. The house simply has excellent climate control and lighting systems that respond to occupancy. Very advanced technology. But some people let their imagination run wild. Maya walked around the living room again, taking in all the strange curves and surfaces. She had to admit, there was something about the place that felt different from normal houses. It seemed warmer, more alive somehow. But she wasn't about to let superstition keep her from the deal of a lifetime. When can I move in? She asked. Vincent smiled, showing teeth that seemed unusually white. How about this weekend? I'll need first month's rent and a security deposit of another $200. Maya could hardly believe her luck. $400 total to move into this incredible place. She reached into her purse and pulled out the cash she had been saving for deposits on other apartments. Here's the money, she said, handing it to Vincent. Do you have a lease for me to sign? Vincent produced a document from his jacket pocket. The paper felt strange, thicker than normal paper with an odd texture. The lease was written in unusual language, with lots of terms Maya didn't recognize. But the important parts were clear. $200 per month, with a 1-year commitment. She signed her name at the bottom, and Vincent countersigned with a pen that seemed to write in silver ink. Welcome to your new home, Vincent said, handing her a set of keys that were unlike any she had ever seen. They were made of the same white material as the house and felt warm in her palm. As Maya drove back to campus that night, she could hardly contain her excitement. She had just rented the most amazing house she had ever seen for less money than most people spent on groceries. She couldn't wait to tell Katie and her other friends about her incredible luck, but as she lay in bed that night, she found herself thinking about Vincent's warning about the previous tenant. What had made the woman so uncomfortable that she left after only 2 weeks? And why had Vincent asked such strange questions during their phone call? Maya pushed these thoughts aside. She was a practical person, not someone who believed in ghost stories or superstitions. The house was beautiful and affordable, and that was all that mattered. Whatever had spooked the previous tenant was probably just her imagination. She had no idea that her life was about to change in ways she could never have imagined. Moving day came faster than Maya expected. Katie helped her load her few belongings into the back of a rental truck, and they drove out to Elm Creek Road together. In the daylight, the house looked even more incredible than it had at night. The white walls seemed to shimmer in the afternoon sun, and Maya felt a rush of excitement as she used her strange, warm keys to open the front entrance. This place is unreal, Katie said, walking around the curved living room with her mouth open. How did you even find this? It's like something from outer space. Maya laughed, feeling proud of her amazing discovery. I know, right? I still can't believe it's only $200 a month. They spent the afternoon moving Maya's things inside. Her furniture looked tiny and out of place against the flowing walls, but she figured she'd get used to it. The house seemed to welcome her belongings, and she noticed that the lighting adjusted automatically as they moved things around, always providing just the right amount of brightness. After Katie left that evening, Maya found herself alone in her new home for the first time. She made dinner in the strange curved kitchen, marveling at how everything seemed designed for maximum comfort. The countertops were exactly the right height, and the surfaces stayed perfectly clean with just a light wipe. That first night, Maya slept better than she had in months. The bed, which had looked so unusual, turned out to be incredibly comfortable. The room stayed at the perfect temperature all night, and she woke up feeling more rested than she could remember. For the first few days, everything seemed perfect. Maya fell into a routine of going to classes, working at the library, and coming home to her amazing house. She loved showing it off to friends, though she noticed some of them seemed uncomfortable during their visits. "There's something weird about this place," her classmate Derek said during his first visit. "It feels like it's watching us." Maya brushed off his comment, but she had to admit she'd noticed some odd things too. The walls always felt warm when she touched them, almost like they had heating running through them. Sometimes she could swear she felt a very gentle vibration, like a slow heartbeat, when she pressed her palm against the smooth surfaces. The strangest thing was how the house seemed to know what she needed before she did. The lighting would dim automatically when she felt tired, and brighten when she needed to study. The temperature would adjust perfectly for whatever she was wearing. Even the water pressure in the shower seemed to change based on her mood. Maya tried to convince herself these were just advanced smart home features, the kind of technology rich people had in their houses. Vincent had mentioned sophisticated climate control and lighting systems. It made sense that an experimental house would have cutting-edge automation. But then there were the dreams. Every single night since moving in, Maya had the most vivid dreams of her life. She would find herself floating through vast starry spaces, surrounded by colors that didn't exist in the waking world. Sometimes she dreamed of walking through landscapes, made of crystal and light, where gravity worked differently and she could move just by thinking about it. In these dreams, she never felt alone. There was always a presence with her, something warm and friendly that seemed to guide her through these impossible places. She never saw what it was, but she could feel its happiness at having her there, like it had been waiting for her for a very long time. Maya would wake up from these dreams feeling peaceful and content, but also strangely homesick for places she'd never been. She started looking forward to sleep just so she could return to those amazing dreamscapes. Her cat, Luna, had moved in with her after the first week. Maya's dorm didn't allow pets, so she'd been keeping Luna at Katie's apartment. She was excited to finally have her furry companion back, but Luna's behavior in the new house was very strange. The normally social cat spent hours sitting in corners, staring at blank sections of wall with intense focus. Sometimes Luna would paw at the walls as if trying to catch something invisible, or she would purr loudly while rubbing against the smooth surfaces like she was greeting an old friend. "What are you looking at, Luna?" Maya would ask, but she could never see anything unusual where the cat was staring. Even stranger, Luna seemed to know which rooms Maya was going to enter before she got there. The cat would be waiting by doorways, as if she had been told Maya was coming. Sometimes Maya would find Luna sitting in the exact spot where she had planned to sit, forcing her to choose a different chair. Maya started keeping a journal of all the odd things she noticed. The way the house seemed to hum very quietly, almost below the range of hearing, how the walls felt different temperatures in different rooms, but always perfectly comfortable. The way shadows moved in ways that didn't quite match the light sources. She also wrote about her dreams, trying to capture the impossible beauty of the places she visited each night. Reading back through her entries, she realized the dreams were becoming more detailed and more frequent. She was spending longer periods in those strange landscapes, and the presence that accompanied her was becoming stronger and more distinct. One morning Maya woke up to find that she had been sleepwalking. She was standing in the living room, with her hand pressed against the wall, and she could swear the surface under her palm was pulsing gently, like a slow heartbeat. When she pulled her hand away, the sensation stopped immediately. "Okay, that's definitely not normal," she said out loud, her voice echoing strangely in the curved space. Maya decided to do some research on the house's history. She went to the city planning office and looked up the property records for Elm Creek Road. What she found confused her even more. According to the official records, the lot where her house stood had been empty for over 50 years. There were no building permits on file for any structure at that address. As far as the city was concerned, no house existed there at all. Maya stared at the documents in disbelief. How could there be no record of such an unusual building? Someone had to have gotten permits to build something so unique. The construction alone would have required special approval from multiple departments. She tried calling Vincent to ask about the discrepancy, but his phone number went straight to a message, saying it was no longer in service. Maya felt a chill run down her spine. How was she supposed to pay rent to someone with a disconnected phone? That evening Maya sat in her living room, trying to make sense of everything. Luna was curled up on her lap, purring contentedly, but even the cat's warmth couldn't shake the uneasy feeling growing in Maya's chest. As she sat there, she became aware of something she hadn't noticed before. The whole house seemed to be breathing very slowly, expanding and contracting in a rhythm that matched her own breathing. The walls rose and fell almost imperceptibly, and she could feel the movement through the furniture. Maya put her hand on the wall beside her chair and closed her eyes. The pulsing sensation was unmistakable now, steady and strong like a heartbeat. But it wasn't her heartbeat, it was too slow, too deep. It was like the house itself was alive. "What are you?" she whispered to the empty room. For just a moment, Maya could have sworn she felt something respond to her question. Not a sound or a movement, but a shift in the atmosphere around her, like the house was listening and considering how to answer. Luna looked up at her and meowed softly, as if she understood exactly what Maya was experiencing. The cat's green eyes seemed to hold a knowledge that Maya was only beginning to glimpse. As Maya prepared for bed that night, she found herself both excited and nervous about her dreams. She had a feeling that whatever was happening to her was just getting started, and she wasn't sure if she was ready for what came next. But as she drifted off to sleep, with Luna curled up beside her and the gentle pulse of the house surrounding them both, Maya felt strangely safe. Whatever this place was, whatever was happening to her, it didn't feel dangerous. It felt like coming home to somewhere she had always belonged but never known existed. Maya woke up on a Tuesday morning 3 weeks after moving in, and immediately knew something was different. The bedroom felt brighter than usual, but when she looked toward the windows, they seemed exactly the same. She sat up in bed and rubbed her eyes, trying to shake off the strange feeling that had settled over her. That's when she saw them. On the wall directly across from her bed, there were 3 oval shapes that definitely hadn't been there the night before. They looked like smooth depressions in the wall's surface, each about the size of her hand. But what made Maya's heart race was that the dark centers of these ovals seemed to be looking directly at her dot. She blinked hard, thinking she must still be half asleep and imagining things. But when she opened her eyes again, the oval shapes were still there, and they had definitely moved to follow her gaze. "What the heck?" Maya whispered, slowly getting out of bed. That as she moved across the room, the dark centers of the ovals tracked her movement like eyes watching her every step. Maya felt her hands shaking as she reached for her phone to take a picture. But when she looked at the screen, the image was completely blurred, as if her camera couldn't focus properly on whatever these things were. Luna was sitting on the windowsill, completely calm, as if nothing unusual was happening. The cat looked at Maya and then at the wall formations, seeming almost amused by Maya's reaction. Maya grabbed her clothes and rushed to the bathroom to get dressed, her mind racing. She had to call Vincent. He had to know what was happening to his house. But when she tried his number again, she got the same message about the line being disconnected. She spent the morning at classes, but couldn't concentrate on anything her professors were saying. All she could think about were those things on her bedroom wall. Were they some kind of advanced technology? Some weird art installation that activated after a certain amount of time? When Maya returned home that afternoon, she found more of the oval formations had appeared throughout the house. There were 2 in the living room, 1 in the kitchen, and several more in the hallway. All of them seemed to notice when she entered a room, turning their attention toward her like curious observers. Maya tried to stay rational. She grabbed a notebook and started documenting everything she could observe about the formations. They were perfectly smooth, about 4 inches wide and 6 inches tall. The centers were dark but not completely black. They seemed to have depth, like looking into deep water. Most unsettling of all, they seemed to react to her emotions. When she felt nervous, they would cluster closer together on whatever wall she was near. When she tried to relax, they spread out more, as if giving her space. That evening Maya was sitting on her couch, staring at the formations on her living room wall, when something incredible happened. She heard a voice in her head, not her own thoughts, but something else entirely. "Please don't be afraid," the voice said. It was gentle and warm, like someone speaking softly to comfort a scared child. Maya jumped up from the couch, looking around the empty room. "Who's there? Who said that?" "I did," the voice replied, and Maya realized it was coming from inside her own mind somehow. "I'm sorry if I startled you. I've been trying to find the right way to introduce myself." Maya's rational mind told her she was having some kind of breakdown, but the voice felt so real, so present. "What are you? Are you in my head?" "In a way, yes. But I'm also all around you. I am the house, Maya, or more accurately, I am the being who has become your house." Maya sat back down heavily, her legs suddenly feeling weak. "The being who became my house? That doesn't make any sense." The voice was patient as it explained. "I know this is difficult to understand. I am not from your world, Maya. I came here from very far away, much farther than you can imagine. My kind travels through space in living vessels that can transform and adapt to different environments." "You're telling me you're an alien?" Maya asked, surprised by how calm her voice sounded. "That's your word for it, but yes. I've been on your planet for a very long time, waiting for someone I could communicate with. Someone who would be open to forming a connection with me. Maya looked around at the formations on her walls, and suddenly they didn't seem scary anymore. They seemed almost shy, like someone peeking around corners to get a better look at her. Why me? She asked. You have qualities that make you special, the voice replied. Your mind is open and curious. You study the past and try to understand different cultures, and there's something about your spirit that called to me. I've been alone for so long, Maya. When you moved in, I finally felt hope again. Maya spent the next hour asking questions and getting answers that seemed impossible, but somehow felt true. The being explained that it had crash-landed on Earth decades ago and had been stuck here ever since. It could transform its body into different shapes, including the house she was living in, but it couldn't repair itself enough to leave the planet. Are you trying to get home? Maya asked. I was for many years, but now I think maybe I am home. Here, with you. That night, Maya's dreams were different. Instead of floating through strange landscapes, she found herself in a place that felt warm and safe, surrounded by gentle lights that pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. She could sense the being's presence more clearly now, and she realized it had been with her in every dream since she moved in. This is how my kind communicates, the voice explained in her dream, through shared experiences and emotions. Your dreams are a way for us to meet in a space between your world and mine. When Maya woke up the next morning, she felt different. The fear was gone, replaced by curiosity and something else she couldn't quite name. It felt like the beginning of a friendship unlike any she had ever imagined. Over the next few weeks, Maya's life changed in ways she never could have expected. The being who told her to call him Cosmos began communicating with her more freely, sometimes through the gentle voice in her mind, sometimes through changes in the house itself, and always through their shared dreams. Maya learned that Cosmos had been desperately lonely during his decades on Earth. His kind were naturally social beings who shared their thoughts and experiences with others of their species. Being cut off from that connection had been almost unbearable. But with you, Cosmos told her one evening as she sat in the living room, I feel whole again. Your thoughts are so different from mine, so interesting. You show me your world through your eyes, and I can share mine with you. Maya had been worried about telling anyone about her situation. How could she explain that her house was actually a living alien being? People would think she had lost her mind. But keeping it secret was becoming harder every day, especially as the benefits of their connection became more obvious. Cosmos seemed to know exactly what Maya needed before she did. When she was stressed about a big exam, the house would fill with calming colors and soft sounds that helped her focus. When she was sad about something, the walls would warm up just a little bit, like a gentle hug surrounding her. Her schoolwork improved dramatically. Cosmos shared knowledge from his travels across the galaxy, giving Maya insights into history and culture that no human professor could provide. Her papers started earning praise from teachers who couldn't understand where her sudden brilliance was coming from. You're like having the ultimate research partner, Maya told Cosmos one night. You've seen civilizations rise and fall across the universe. You understand patterns in history that we're just beginning to discover. But the most amazing part was how Cosmos seemed to genuinely care about her happiness. When Maya mentioned that she missed having fresh flowers in her home, the walls began growing beautiful, glowing patterns that looked like luminescent gardens. When she said she loved the sound of rain, Cosmos learned to create gentle water sounds. That helped her sleep. Maya's friends started commenting on how much happier and more confident she seemed. Katie visited often and always remarked on how peaceful the house felt, though she had no idea why. There's something special about this place, Katie said during one visit. I always leave here feeling more relaxed than when I arrived. It's like the house has good energy or something. Maya smiled, knowing that Cosmos was probably making a special effort to make her friends feel welcome. The being seemed to understand how important human connections were to Maya, even if he couldn't fully participate in them. The only challenging part was dating. Maya had been seeing a guy named Alex from her history class, but every time he came over he seemed uncomfortable. He would make excuses to leave early and eventually stopped calling altogether. I think your house freaks guys out, Katie said bluntly. It's amazing, but it's also pretty weird. Maybe try meeting dates somewhere else for a while. Maya felt bad about this, but Cosmos seemed to understand. I don't want to interfere with your happiness, he told her. Perhaps in time you'll find someone who can accept our unusual living arrangement. Meanwhile, Maya's relationship with Cosmos continued to deepen. She started thinking of him as her closest friend, the one person or being who truly understood her. They would spend hours in conversation, sometimes out loud and sometimes through their mental connection. Cosmos told her about his home world, a place where beings like him lived in harmony with their environment, shaping living spaces that responded to their needs and emotions. He described other planets he had visited, showing her incredible sights through their dream connection. Maya shared her own dreams and goals with Cosmos. She told him about her hopes of becoming a professor someday, her love of ancient history, and her fears about the future. Cosmos listened to everything with genuine interest and offered perspectives that helped her see her life in new ways. On my world, Cosmos told her one evening, we believe that every being has a purpose that becomes clear when they find their true companions. I think you are helping me discover mine. What do you think your purpose is? Maya asked. To bridge two worlds. Through our connection, I'm learning about humanity in ways I never could before, and through me, you're gaining knowledge about the wider universe. Perhaps we're meant to be ambassadors for our respective species. Maya found this idea both exciting and overwhelming. She was just a college student trying to pass her classes and figure out her life. The idea that she might be playing some important role in connecting Earth to the galactic community seemed too big to be real. But as weeks passed, Maya began to see evidence that their connection was changing her in fundamental ways. She found herself understanding things that she shouldn't have been able to understand, having insights that came from nowhere, and feeling more confident about her place in the world. Luna seemed to approve of the changes in Maya. The cat spent her days moving between Maya and various spots around the house where she would sit and purr, as if she was facilitating the connection between them. Sometimes Maya wondered if Luna understood more about what was happening than she let on. One night, as Maya lay in bed surrounded by the gentle glow that Cosmos created to help her sleep, she realized that she couldn't imagine living anywhere else. This wasn't just about having an affordable place to live anymore. This was home in a way that nowhere else had ever been. Cosmos, she whispered into the darkness, are you happy here with me? The response came not in words but in a warm wave of contentment that washed over her. Maya smiled and closed her eyes, ready for another night of shared dreams and impossible adventures. Months after moving into the house on Elm Creek Road, Maya's life had transformed completely. What had started as a desperate search for affordable housing had become the most meaningful relationship of her life. Cosmos wasn't just her roommate or her friend, he had become her partner in exploring both the world around her and the vast universe beyond. Maya's academic work had reached new heights. Her professors were amazed by the depth and originality of her research. She was writing papers that connected ancient human civilizations to broader patterns of development that seemed to span across different worlds and species. Of course, she couldn't reveal her true source of information, but the insights Cosmos shared helped her see history in revolutionary ways. You're going to be a remarkable scholar, her advisor, Dr. Chen, told her during their monthly meeting. Your perspective on cultural development is unlike anything I've seen from a student. Have you considered applying for the graduate fellowship program? Maya smiled, knowing that Cosmos was probably listening to their conversation and feeling proud of her achievements. I'd love to apply, she said. I think I have a lot more to discover about how different civilizations connect to each other. The house had continued to evolve along with their relationship. The oval formations that had once seemed scary were now as familiar as windows or doorways. Maya had learned that they were Cosmos's way of observing and interacting with the world. Around him, through them, he could see colors and light patterns that human eyes couldn't detect, and he could sense the emotions and energy of everyone who entered their home. Maya's friends had gotten used to the unusual architecture, though they still made comments about how unique the place was. Katie had started bringing her art supplies over to sketch the curved walls and flowing surfaces. I swear this place inspires me, Katie said during one visit. Every time I draw here, I come up with ideas I never would have thought of anywhere else. Maya exchanged a mental smile with Cosmos. He had mentioned that he enjoyed Katie's creative energy and sometimes subtly influenced the lighting and atmosphere to help her artistic process. The challenges hadn't disappeared entirely. Maya still found it difficult to maintain romantic relationships when she couldn't fully explain her living situation. She had tried dating a few more people, but none of them seemed comfortable in the house for very long. Cosmos did his best to remain unobtrusive during these visits, but there was something about his presence that sensitive people could detect, even if they couldn't identify what it was. Maybe I'm meant to be single right now, Maya told Cosmos one evening. Maybe this time in my life is about our connection and my studies. I hope you don't feel like I'm holding you back from finding human love, Cosmos replied, his mental voice tinged with concern. That was never my intention. You're not holding me back, Maya assured him. You're helping me become the person I'm supposed to be. If someone can't accept that this is my life, then they're not the right person. For me, as spring turned to summer, Maya made a decision that surprised even her. When Dr. Chen offered her the opportunity to spend the summer doing research in Europe, she turned it down. I appreciate the offer, she told him, but I have important work to do here. I'm developing some theories about ancient architecture that require me to stay close to my primary research source. Dr. Chen was disappointed but respected her decision. Maya knew she could have told him that her research source was sitting all around her in the form of a living alien house, but she figured that conversation could wait until she had her PhD. That summer, Maya and Cosmos spent more time than ever exploring their connection. With no classes to attend, Maya could dedicate herself fully to understanding the knowledge Cosmos shared with her. They developed a routine where Maya would spend her mornings writing and researching, her afternoons talking with Cosmos about his experiences across the galaxy, and her evenings in shared dreams that took her to places beyond imagination. Want to show you something special tonight? Cosmos told her one evening in late July. That night's dream was different from all the others. Instead of floating through abstract landscapes, Maya found herself standing on what appeared to be a vast observation deck overlooking a star-filled void. But these weren't random stars, they were organized into patterns and networks, connected by streams of light that pulsed with information and energy. This is how my people see the galaxy, Cosmos explained. Not as empty space dotted with isolated worlds, but as a living network of connected civilizations. Each light represents a species that has achieved interstellar communication and travel. Maya stared in wonder at the incredible sight. How many are there? Thousands. We know of millions more that we haven't contacted yet. Your world appears as a small, dim light because your species is just beginning to reach beyond your own planet, but you're growing brighter every year. Will humans ever be part of this network? Maya asked. I believe so. It may take generations, but your species has the curiosity and adaptability to eventually join the galactic community. And when that happens, connections like ours will help bridge the gap between worlds. Maya woke from that dream with a sense of purpose she had never felt before. She wasn't just a college student studying ancient history anymore. She was a pioneer in human-alien relations, even if she was the only one who knew it. As summer ended, and Maya prepared to return to classes for her senior year, she and Cosmos talked about the future. What happens after I graduate? Maya asked. Will you want to stay here, or will you try to find a way home? This is my home now, Cosmos replied. Without hesitation, my physical form may have come from another world, but my heart belongs here with you. If you'll have me, I'd like to stay and continue learning about your species through your eyes. Maya felt a wave of relief and joy. She had been worried that their connection was temporary, that Cosmos would eventually want to leave Earth and return to his own kind. Of course, I want you to stay, she said. I can't imagine my life without you now. As Maya entered her final year of college, she began making plans for the future that included Cosmos. She would apply to graduate school and continue her research into the connections between ancient civilizations and broader galactic patterns. She would find ways to subtly introduce concepts about interplanetary culture into her academic work, preparing humanity for eventual contact with species like Cosmos. Most importantly, she would continue to be Earth's first ambassador to the galactic community, even if it was a role that only she and Cosmos fully understood. One evening in October, exactly 1 year after she had first seen the classified ad that changed her life, Maya sat in her living room surrounded by the gentle glow of Cosmos's presence. Luna was curled up in her lap, purring contentedly, and Maya felt a peace she had never known before. Thank you, she said quietly. For what? Cosmos asked. For choosing me. For being patient with me while I figured out what was happening. For becoming my friend and my partner in this incredible adventure. Thank you for staying, Cosmos replied. For being open to something impossible. For making this strange existence beautiful. Maya looked around at the curved walls, the soft oval formations that had become as familiar as old friends, and the flowing architecture that had once seemed so alien. Now it all felt like the most natural thing in the world. She had answered a classified ad for a cheap house and ended up finding her place in the universe. Not everyone would understand her choices, but Maya knew she was exactly where she was supposed to be, in a house that wasn't really a house, with a companion who wasn't really human. living a life that was more extraordinary than anything she could have imagined. As she drifted off to sleep that night, Maya smiled, knowing that tomorrow would bring new adventures in their ongoing exploration of what it meant to build a bridge between worlds. She had found her purpose, her home, and her future, all in one impossible, wonderful package. And somewhere in the network of light that connected civilizations across the galaxy, Earth's small star burned just a little bit brighter.